Hey, we practice everything except remembering to bring the theme music. This is Bob Going, and this is the show with no name. We're back. I'm here with Gavin Murdoch and Jim Nicosia. Jim, just throw that microphone back in there, will you? Yeah. Okay. You guys say something, so I know you're on.
I'm here. I'll say something.
Okay.
What do you say?
All right. Okay. Looks like we're on the air. I don't know. It's been a couple of years since we did this. Anyway, a lot of things have happened we can talk about, starting with January of 2011. Okay. Those are, I'm hearing everything except myself. Which one is mine here? There we go. Let's see. It's not.
No, this one is mine. This one is yours.
All right.
No, this is mine. That's yours.
There we go. Okay. All right. It's tough being deaf and doing radio at the same time. Anyway, 843-2500 is our number. Yesterday, of course, we lost one of the great women of the 20th century. One of the most important figures in world history. I'm speaking, of course, of Annette Funicello.
I thought you were talking about Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, well, we'll get to Margaret, but Annette.
Everybody's girlfriend in the Mickey Mouse Club.
That's right. When, for guys our age, Annette was it. Jim, you're a little older.
I'm a little older.
You were Rita Hayworth, but Annette was it. She was like, she was what, 12 when she was doing the Mickey Mouse Club. She was just at that age where she was.
And which made it hard in Amsterdam was it came on ABC.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a local channel. That was out of Utica. So a lot of people, when it first came on, didn't get to see it. We only got to hear about it.
That's true. Actually, it was a UHF channel for a long time. That's I think we had to pick it up out of the Berkshires or something.
We didn't get it.
And it was always a bad. Even when they switched to Channel 13, it was not a good signal here. So a lot of I think Leave It to Beaver or Ozzie and Harriet were on ABC, I think, and they were hard to pick up here.
Yeah.
Schenectady. That's what it is. I used to say to my grandfather, "What are you watching?" Schenectady.
Schenectady.
Because he goes back to when you turn the TV on and all there was Schenectady.
Schenectady.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Yeah, because they had the Hardy Boys on there as well on the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Spin and Marty.
Yeah.
All right. And then when the Mickey Mouse Club was over, Zorro would come on.
Oh, that's the best.
Wasn't that great?
We've got that on DVD. We've watched it many times. Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Guy Williamson. You know what he was in later on after Zorro?
Well, sure. Lost in Space.
Lost in Space.
And he was supposed to be the star of the show, and he ended up like having lines like, "What's going on?"
Danger, Will Rogers.
Dr. Smith, you shouldn't do this stuff anymore. I mean, why didn't they kill him in the first episode? You're captain of the ship. This guy is betraying you week after week.
You have to have a protagonist.
Then what was going to be on the next week?
That's right.
Anyway.
Anyway.
So here we are. Here we are back again. Annette Funicello. And she went on, of course, to do Frankie Avalon movies, those beach movies.
Beach blanket movies.
Yeah.
And after her was two other people that starred on that show became stars. I went blank.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you had Bobby.
He was the dance from the Lawrence Welk show.
Right. They never grew up. He was Bobby and Sissy. I guess he paid him like nothing too, because he was. What else was he going to do? He had
they were just happy to be there.
I think he got like $100 a week or something like that. Bobby and Sissy. And now the boys will play the great Duke Ellington hit, "Take a Train."
Did you see the editorial in the paper this morning?
The one from Canandaigua?
No, not the editorial. The letters to the editor.
Letters to the editor? Well, no.
Yeah,
we can have some fun here.
Yes. Yeah.
Letters to the editor. Ooh, William D. Wills. Okay, I'm reading this cold, folks, so I'm not editorializing. Jim brought it up. He wants to talk about it, so here it is. It's called Mayoral Shenanigans. To the editor, quote, replacing this individual was not at all political. I have never worked that way, unquote. I got to tell you, I laughed out loud when I saw that too. For once, the mayor is right. It wasn't political. It was shenanigans at its worst. The hiring of a relative of a non-approved council instead of the rehiring of a competent, hardworking, and friendly person is too blatant to ignore or even face up in Facebook. As I always reminded the honorable queen of politicians, quote, the Nile is not just the name of a river. I think he means the Nile. But,
Yeah.
this is a famous quote of Will Rogers, and that is still relevant in Amsterdam politics today when honesty and integrity are truly revealed.
Who's the non-approved council member? That I didn't get. Unless that.
The non-approved council is Jerry D. Casadas. Apparently, this is one of his relatives who got hired. Now, if it's one of his relatives, it might be one of my relatives. So I'm not going to make another anything more on the subject until I find out. If it's from his side, I'll condemn it. If it's from my side, I say, good person, good appointment.
Yeah, well, that goes to without saying. I mean,
but I never do things that way. I mean, that's I read that. Look, if I hadn't been there when she did the same thing with Mike Chera, when she did the same thing with Jimmy Crisali, when she did the same thing with the city engineer, but that's the way she operates. Well, see, I was going to be nice on the first show, and then you had to bring this up. I didn't even notice it.
Well, that's being nice. I mean, we state facts. We don't go into.
That's true. We don't pull punches. I know that. I just thought, the first show would be all people would be calling us up and say, "Hey, we're glad to see you back," and I say nobody's calling it off. So.
And nobody's glad to see us back.
And nobody's glad to see us back. So anyway,
we'll get one show in anyway before we're canceled.
Yeah. All right. I'm kind of those of you who've missed the show. We've actually never stopped doing the show. We've been doing it for 2 years on podcast at TSWNN.com. So if you want to see what you missed, you can go to TSWNN.com and catch all the old shows because they're all archived.
That's very good.
Every single one, going back to the beginning.
So even our friends in Eastern Europe who've been very loyal listeners.
Very loyal. They have. And of course we have numerous, wow. All three? Oh, 2 and 3. Okay. We've had, numerous listeners from the former republics of Yugoslavia and of course the greater Chernobyl area in the Ukraine listens on a regular basis. And of course, they can still listen because we're at WCSS1490.com and actually can listen live. We haven't done too many live shows in the last couple of years. We
had technical difficulty doing the live shows.
We tried that for a while and it worked, but it was a little primitive. But what do you want for free? Anyway, this is WCSS and you're on the air.
Hello, Bob. Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Hi, Paul. How are you?
Nice. Hear you guys back for a change.
Yeah, that's us. That's us, Paul.
What do you think about the Obamacare there? He's trying to mess around with Social Security?
The same thing I said when they first proposed it. I said it was going to go broke pretty quick, and it did, and I was right. They were wrong. But what else is new?
Yeah, I guess the gasoline dropped down a little bit, didn't it?
The gasoline was $1.80 when Obama took office. It's twice that now.
Yeah, I know. It should be down to $1 even now.
Yeah.
Well, you won't see that for the next 4 years.
Well, I'm ready.
Okay, I'll see you. Nice to see you back, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care, Paul. Oh, this is WCSS. You're on the air.
George Going, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
You've been on the air about 10 minutes, and you're already the flagship program.
Is it 10 minutes already? Well, no, it's not quite 10 minutes because I started late because I didn't hear the cue. But
I enjoy listening to you because you are well-rounded. You're well-traveled. You're very intelligent, and I always like to listen up. I always like to listen to somebody a lot smarter than me, and you bring a little different perspective than the rest of the programming on this station.
Well, I don't know if I don't know if I'm smarter than anybody, but I do try to keep well-read, and I have a trivial memory.
If Amsterdam realizes that someday, maybe you can get in the office and make some changes.
That'd be nice, but you know what? I'm kind of retired and I'm enjoying it. So
please don't change your style. Keep going. You know, be as cutting as you are. Don't dumb yourself down to stay on the radio, because you're cutting edge, and we enjoy listening to you.
Yeah, what's the over/under on the length on how long the program's going to be on? I noticed there was some wagering on the on Facebook yesterday going on.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Well, I put money on the over.
Good luck, sir.
All right, thank you. All right. I don't know what to make of any of this.
Was it day wise or time wise? We're going to get an hour regardless, right?
Well, we got
first
an hour.
time.
We got an hour today.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We're available to do a 2 hour show. We've been doing a 2 hour show for so long. It's going to.
I know it.
I don't know how we're going to manage to do a 1 hour show here.
You're not going to get it all in.
We're going to have to start talking faster. The Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher, and this is obviously really.
You got a phone call.
What? Well, the phone call can wait. Margaret. Oh, all right. We'll take the
you
phone
can't.
call. I want to talk about Margaret, though. All right. This is WCSS. You're on the air.
I could have waited.
Oh, that's okay. You're right.
Welcome back.
Well, thank you.
And tell Jim, thank you very much for bringing up today's letter to the editor.
You're welcome.
I read the one the other day, I guess on Saturday, and I thought to myself, And then I read the one this morning, and I went, Yeah.
Don't say that too many times, because it'll sound like Sam being on
I don't know if you saw the mayor's Facebook comments on this subject. I don't know any of the parties involved. Honest to God, I'm not a golfer.
I don't either.
I don't know any of this stuff. But I do know the mayor's style, and when she says something, I know what she's saying. Okay.
Exactly. I think we all do.
And one of the things, it was this this is all about feeling sorry for me for this terrible job I have, and she starts talking about all the corruption at the golf course and all this stuff, and I have to fight all these corrupt people. Oh, excuse me, she's been mayor, this is her 6th year. She must have appointed everybody who's on that golf commission. So if there's anybody in there who's corrupt, she appointed them. So, yeah.
Well,
have pity on me. I'm a poor orphan," said the kid who shot his parents.
Well, I was just wondering who ended up with the plum position.
Well, as I say, it's probably one of my relatives, so I don't want to know about it.
I know. I'm sorry about that, Bob.
Well,
But anyway, at least now we do know that it's out in the open. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Keep up the good work. I look forward to you being back on the air.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Well, see, that's it. It's,
now we got to
couple
investigate.
fans.
We got to investigate to see if it's really his relative.
Yeah, if it's not, we can just. Yeah, but then if it's a relative of my relative, then that's
Same
still like
thing.
Yeah,
the
but
same
the thing
thing.
is,
Relative, like
from what I understand, you're related to everybody.
I'm related to you.
Hampton.
I'm related to Gavin.
So there we go. There we go. That's
and you guys are
we're
related to
stuck.
everybody else. So
we're stuck. We can't talk about anybody.
you can't.
Well,
I don't know about Joe Isabel.
we can
I
talk-
must be related to Joe Isabel.
We can talk about Joe because he's an alderman.
Oh, we can talk about alderman. Yeah, we can talk about alderman Isabel. Yes, absolutely. Oh my God. Oh God. Yeah, 2 years of built up.
Be careful because we got
but
to get the whole hour.
Station manager Joe, I love him.
Well, that's
I love
different.
him.
That's
He's a
different.
great guy. He's a great guy. Love him.
He's lurking around the door.
He is. I know.
Listening.
You
got another call.
We got another call here, Rebecca? Really?
Bob, you got to pay attention, Bob.
Well, I know, but I'm talking to you guys over here, trying to stay on camera over here.
Oh, see?
And
the camera.
Yeah. All right.
That's
this is WCSS. You're on the air.
Good morning, Judge.
Hi.
Is Gavin there as well?
Gavin is
yes,
here.
I am.
Is it okay if I ask Gavin a question?
You can ask Gavin a question. Of course, Gavin is on our school board, so he's subject to any kind of criticism you want to level. Go ahead.
Unless you're related.
That was exactly what I was going to do.
All right, go ahead. Hit him hard.
I do need to ask you where the negotiations are going for with the non-bargaining personnel, with the non-union personnel. But number two, a lot of us have to know why Gavin Murdoch actually gave 1.5% to Mr. Tom Perillo. I'm going to hang up because I want to hear this interesting and very interesting answer.
Nail him hard. That's why I brought him on here. Okay, thanks.
Good boy.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Gavin. Shoot.
There was a lot of discussion over 2 board meetings regarding the superintendent's raise. And there were a lot of good points on both sides of the issue, and the board as a whole, or 5 out of 7, decided, and I was one of them, to vote in favor of it. There has been a tremendous amount of positive activity this year in the school district regarding improvement in performance, programs brought in to improve the opportunities our teachers have to improve their teaching and working with our challenging populations. And as Dr. Bush said, that Tom has been at the forefront of this. He has worked very hard to ensure we're doing all we can to educate the kids and to maintain a safe school district and safe environment for all our students. And as far as negotiations with the non-bargaining units, there was discussion at last board meeting, and there'll be further discussion at the upcoming board meeting as far as what we can do and what we need to be able to do with those. But since it's negotiations, we don't discuss in public the specifics of negotiations, unfortunately.
I suppose I think part of the question was what's the status of them? Are they?
They're ongoing, and they should be culminated by the end of the month.
All right. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Any news on who's running for school board? Or?
I haven't heard anything whether the 2 candidates are up or running again, or anybody else who is running for the first time in this election.
Oh. Okay. I'm trying to do 2 things at once here. One of the things I think it's important for me to do, as the guy who's running the board, it's important for me to know what time it is.
It is 10:20.
I guess we go by with this one over here, but I like to have it in front of me, and I don't see where that's.
It's right down the bottom of the screen there.
Well, I know, but I want it more exact. I used to have the atomic time clock up here, and they've added a lot of stuff in the last 2 years here. We'll work on it. I guess we got another call here, so here we go. This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Yes, I have another question for Gavin Murdoch.
Go ahead, shoot.
Yep.
And I'm going to ask my question and then hang up so I can listen.
Okay.
And I want to know, like the other gentleman asked, why a raise was given to Mr. Perillo when the graduation rate really hasn't changed much and he hasn't really done anything about it. Thank you.
Well, I would politely disagree that he has done nothing about it. There have been a number of changes in the requirements for courses and graduation over the years. We have this year had numerous training opportunities for our staff to improve it. We've added some staff to work with some of the families of our students who have not been successful in school to try to keep them in school. A lot of what needs to be done is not necessarily taking place in the classroom, but out of the classroom. We have people who have made a conscious decision not to take advantage of the opportunities offered. The demographics of the school districts have changed, and there's been a number of activities taking place in the school to work with our challenging students to help them stay on task. And I'm going to tell you, the school we went to when we were in school is not the school that students go to today. The requirements have greatly increased, and not necessarily the adaptation to some of these changes have taken place. But they are taking place now. The teachers are working very hard with the families of our students who are struggling. Our administration is working very hard with the families of students who are struggling. With the addition of the alternative school being housed at Clara Bacon, it has provided an opportunity to work specifically with these students outside the normal class environment, to have them have an opportunity to stay in school, to have a chance to graduate, and to be successful. Because the community is only going to be as successful as the students who graduate from the high school are successful. We want these students to be successful. Nobody wants to be an average teacher. Everybody wants to be a very good, excellent teacher. And it takes work and change and adaptation. And I think a lot of that is taking place this year. And some of these changes aren't going to fix the situation at the end. Some of these changes are going to take time to be acclimated to them and to begin to show the benefits of these changes.
Hey, Gavin, I want to congratulate you. That was thoughtful, considered, measured response. But I think what they want to know is, are you a Perillo stooge? Is that what you're...
No, I'm not.
Okay, thank you.
You can put that paper away now.
This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you today?
Good, good.
Stan DeRossi. I just thought I'd call in and say, glad you're on. I have to talk. Gavin is right. You know, I was on the board for 14 years. It was a life sentence. But on the other hand, you know, everybody blames the school district. But what about the parents? I mean, they have a certain responsibility in this whole process to help, you know, our school districts out and help make sure their kids go to school, make sure they're dressed right, make sure they have the mind to learn. You know, if they don't have that in mind, there's no way the graduation is going to go up. And it's not the school's fault entirely. It's the parents. They have to start parenting their kids.
It's a societal issue.
I may be wrong, but and the other thing is, I got a question for Gavin. Gavin, how much does Tommy make, the superintendent?
$132, $133, somewhere around there.
I don't want you. And how much raise you're giving him?
He got 1.5%.
Okay, so he's getting $1,300 a year, right?
Okay.
You divide it by 12, so that's say $100 a month. By the time you take 20 or 30% out for taxes, you take another percentage out for Social Security. It's peanuts. You know, these people don't think. They think they know all the answers. It's going to raise our taxes and stuff. You know, for $40 or $50 a month, or even $60. I may have my numbers outweighed. They need to know what's going on inside the school, and you've done a tremendous job with what you had to work with. And I know where you are, and I know things have changed a lot since I've been on the board. But on the other hand, I always try to keep on top of the school district because everybody hits them. You know, our taxes are high, our taxes are high. Well, your taxes are high, you live outside the school district, you know, go to your assessor. And the other thing is stop knocking the schools, trying to help. Especially people that are outside the city and stuff like that, they're always knocking us, but they got all these grandiose ideas. Move back into the city, help with the tax base, and give us your ideas and get on some boards.
You know, Dan, when we talk about changes in graduation, I would venture that if the students that we went to school with when we went to school were measured in the same way, our results would not be a whole lot different.
Okay.
All right. The exams that are given, remember when we went, we were always associated with the students who are going to go to college.
Yeah.
You had the other students in vocational program. Their requirements were not the same.
No,
but we
not.
Never noticed that.
No.
But because there was no standardization of this, it was easy for a teacher to say, you know, you worked real hard this year, I'm going to give you a passing grade. Well, getting a passing grade doesn't pass anymore.
No.
You've got a whole lot of other things to do. And you're right, the school's been saddled with a lot of things. There are more things that we used to expect from families to do that the school now is required to do, which also takes away time from some of the academics.
I got one more question. The transient students that, like, towards the end of the year, they leave to go down to the city or wherever they're going to go, their countries or whatever they're going to go, are they counted as not graduating?
If we cannot identify specifically where they went, they are counted on our books, and they'd be non-graduating, yes.
I would imagine we have a few of those.
We have a number of students who transition in and out of the districts that we're accountable for, even when they're no longer here, because we can't tell the state.
Even if they didn't want to do their work all year, they'd go down there. We would get hit with not graduating, and you know, they just go down wherever they're going to go, so they don't have to take the finals.
So. Sure. And when the state made these changes, the original batch of changes about 10 or 12 years ago, they recognized and they stated that we realize now students are going to have to spend more than 4 years in high school for many of them, and that was going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right after they said that, then they began to measure schools on how many students graduate within 4 years, or by June of their senior year, which, you know, when you say it's not going to happen, then say it's got to happen. And now, with the changes, it's even more students. We have a lot of students who go to school. We'll get a dozen students go to summer school and graduate that are not counted in our June graduation rate.
That's too bad.
Okay? We have other students who are going to come back for another year that aren't going to count towards that number because it took them longer than 4 years to graduate.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. Every school district is judged the same way, and if you look at our results compared to the other city school districts around here, We're struggling just like they are.
And I just don't like people throwing harpoons at us all the time. Sometimes we deserve it. When we deserve it, we should take it. But somebody's got to take. Your kids are your kids. The trouble is, there's too many other people are bringing up our kids instead of the parents.
I got to say that my kids got a great education at Amsterdam High School, and I know yours did too, Dan.
Mine did too.
And Jim's did too, and we can't say that about Jim because he went to Gloversville. But he had the good sense to raise his kids in the Amsterdam school district.
Well, I think in the whole area, everybody is nice and that type of thing. I got one more question for Gavin. Is the Bacon School still for sale?
It's still on the market. It has not yet been taken off.
Okay. Now, do they have any intentions of selling it?
That's some of our discussion that's taking place this time of year, whether or not we're going to keep it on the market for sale or keep it as it is and be utilized for the preschool program and the alternative ed program.
Yeah.
Of course, if the price is right. Yeah.
Well, no, I know someone will buy it cash, so I eliminate a lot of that deficit that you got. So. Was it $325,000 they want for it? That's public. So. Okay, I just checking. That's all because one person officially is saying that it's for sale, and another person said, "Well,
it still is. It has been taken off the market."
I think that the facility now is great, and I don't mean it that way. I'm just saying. Maybe they ought to take the sign down if they're not going to sell it. So.
Okay.
And I'm sorry to bother you. And
hey, it's never a bother. This is what we do. This is what the program is all about. It's about being bothered.
You never know if tomorrow's coming. So
we went for 2 years, Dan, without taking a call. So we got all this pent up responding to callers thing going on here. All right.
Hello, Jim.
Hi, Dan. How you doing?
I'm holding in there.
Good. Yeah. Good. Glad to hear that.
Take care, and God bless you all.
Okay. All right. Take care, you too, Dan. Bye bye. All right. But let me mention, because we're near the bottom of the hour, or past the bottom of the hour, or at the bottom of the hour. This is WCSS 1490 in Amsterdam, New York, celebrating 65 years as your community service station. Speaking of service to the community, we got a big event coming up at St. Mary's in a couple of weeks, April 20th. A tribute to Dutch Howland, who was recently inducted into the New York State Basketball Hall of Fame. Well deserved, but that was up in Queensbury or Glens Falls, and now they want to do a thing for the hometown folks here and all his friends and former students here. So if you went to St. Mary's or Bishop Scully, or you're a friend of Dutch's, you're welcome to come. It's a wide open event. Saturday, April 20th, from 11 to 3. There's going to be a ceremony between 11 and 12, and then just open
friendship,
fellowship, whatever. You can't say enough about Dutch. He was certainly one of the most important people in Amsterdam, and one of the most colorful and accomplished. Sense of humor out of this world. And the man could insult you to your face,
and you'd laugh.
He'd have you laugh. And I had him for a teacher, world geography. I don't know if
I did as well.
He was. He had a remarkable style for teaching world geography. That's all I'm going to say. He sent me to detention any number of times, which was embarrassing because the detention room was my mother's homeroom. But in any event, great guy. We used to call him Uncle Dutch behind his back, except for the Riley kids, they called him Uncle Dutch.
And we even had a hill named after him in Amsterdam, right? Dutch Hill?
Dutch Hill, yeah, but I think that predated him.
Maybe he was named after the hill.
He may have been named after the hill, or maybe because his name was Howland, it might have had something to do with it.
Howland and Howland?
Yeah. Well, hard to believe that anybody would mix that up.
No.
That would misspell his name or anything.
Not in Amsterdam.
Yeah. His father was the city treasurer for a good many years. Well, anyway. What?
Margaret.
What? Margaret Thatcher. Oh, yes. Margaret Thatcher. Britain's Iron Lady, or Great Britain, as I and David Cameron said yesterday. It's hard to imagine someone who had more influence on the second half of the 20th century than she did. You have to go back to what a basket case her country was before she took office. There had been not really a little more than a dime's worth of difference between the two parties in England until she came around. And she says, wait a minute, this whole socialism thing isn't working. You know, there's a famous quote of hers that's on sweatshirts all over the country now about socialism. Socialism can't work in the long run because sooner or later you run out of somebody else's money, because that's the only way it works, is if you're spending somebody else's money. I got the quote completely wrong, but that's the gist of it.
Did anyone tell the U.S. government about that?
Well, Ronald Reagan picked up on it pretty quick, I'll tell you, and the two of them as a team. She came in '78, and he came in the election in 1980. Took office in '81, and the two of them famously agreed on virtually both the economics, political philosophy, freedom at every level, economic and political freedom, and together with their friend the Pope, managed to bring down communism, which everybody said, well, it's inevitable. You know, they're in the wrong side of history. They didn't think Margaret could do anything at all with the country. Britain was a basket case of Europe at that point. The unions ran everything. They would just call a strike, and then they'd go to the cabinet and say, this is what you got to concede for this, or else we're going to shut this industry down or that industry down. One of the and by the way, she before she became a politician, she was involved with a team that invented soft ice cream. That's the truth. Yes.
Really?
Yes. She was with this team, and she was a scientist. And they figured out a way to add more air to the mixture, and able to come up with Mr. Softy and Dairy Queen.
Tasty Freeze.
Yeah, the Iron Lady is Mr. Softy. It's that's true.
I didn't know that.
One of the things, but she was tremendously innovative. Hey, we're looking at YNN, and there's Rob Spagnola. Where is he?
That's up at
Recreation.
Bacon.
And Recreation.
I was up at Bacon for the indoor. Had the indoor hitting range.
Well, who's eating the spaghetti?
That's a different commercial now.
I don't think so.
No, I think it's the same one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damian Weber. Yeah.
Anyway.
How about that?
Okay, so don't switch to YNN. This is where it's at right now. One of the things Margaret,
Yeah.
I was actually in her presence once, and that was at Reagan's funeral.
That's right. She came over, even though she was told not to because of her health.
She was in terrible health.
Yeah.
And she had pre-recorded her eulogy months earlier, which they played. And she wasn't really capable of getting up there and doing it live, but she came nevertheless. And I did see her arrive by limousine to that, so I got that close to her. Anyway. She sold off all those nationalized industries that they had in England and privatized everything. But one of the things she privatized is something we really should look at in this country. And that is, they had what they call council houses there, which is basically public housing. Like we have here, we have the Amsterdam Housing Authority locally. And she basically came up with a plan to sell the housing units to the people who were living at them at dirt cheap prices, so they became not renters or wards of the state, but owners of their own housing units. Something like 1 million people took advantage of that opportunity. When given the opportunity for freedom, they took the freedom,
and it greatly improved. The quality of those houses, because now they were responsible.
All right.
And which is the same as in Russia. The people own their flats, and though the outside, which is owned by the government, looks pretty shoddy, when you walk into these housing projects, inside, the apartments are immaculate because it belongs to the people. Yeah. They take pride in how well they keep it, as opposed to living in somebody else's place and not caring how it looks when you get done with the place and moving out.
Right. So, anyway, that's what I would do. So I would do if I was Housing and Urban Development Secretary, whatever that's called now. I guess it's
same thing.
Yeah. So. Anyway, Margaret Thatcher brought down communism, brought freedom to her country, and something like 100 other countries adopted Thatcherism as an economic model for rebuilding their economies.
Conservative free market.
You betcha. You betcha.
Is there anything new happening in the city about the economic development? I haven't heard anything
Well,
recently.
look, if we'd had the economic development director on for our first show, he could tell us, but we'll put him on for our second show. Okay.
Okay.
You hear that, Rob? You're invited. When is our second show? I suppose it's next week this time. So let's figure Tuesday for the time being. We got a call here? Is that ours? Oh, okay. This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Hi. I've never heard you guys before, but it's very interesting. I think it's ironic that you're talking about Margaret Thatcher and Annette Funicello, who we used to call Annette Spoonicello, because we like the way she wiggles. So here we got the Iron Woman and the Wiggly Woman.
Very good. Very
Back
good.
to the beach.
And we'll have to remember that one.
And I know it's early spring, but I seen a Capitol Hill type robin here and a New York City robin here.
What's the difference, sir?
Well, they're both up here in upstate New York, robbing us of our hard-earned dollars to line their nest eggs. And when the eggs hatch, what do they say?
What do they say?
It wasn't cheap.
Very good. Very good.
And there are some politicians and lawyers that remind me of slinkies because they're absolutely good for nothing, but it sure is fun to watch them fall down the steps. And
have you got another one?
Yeah, because we've been talking about Time Warner, and I was watching Looney Tunes on Time Warner. Are they part of Warner Brothers?
Yes.
Yes, actually,
I could have sworn I heard Tweety say, Dwanny, I thought I saw a petty tax. Then Sylvester said, suffering such a tax. Then Porky Pig and Bugs Bunny said, that tax all folks. Then the Taz and Roadrunner just gave us the raspberries. Now I feel like Wile E. Coyote. We're talking about letters today.
Keep going, because we can't talk. Keep going.
I figured I'd do it here.
Just don't forget us next week.
right.
God bless.
Anytime you hear a lull. Thank you very much.
That was great.
You never heard of us. Cut them out. This is WCSS. You're on the air. Can you top that?
If that guy feels like Wile E. Coyote, I have 3 words for him. Don't look up.
Hi, Dave.
Oh, David, how are you?
What's up there, Slicker?
Where you been? Where you been?
Here.
You haven't called us in a long time.
Almost 2 years.
Well, there have been reasons, as you may be aware, although I doubt it.
Okay.
But, by the way, the one caller said you were well-rounded. Have you put on weight?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I'm 30 pounds lighter than I was last time I did this show.
They cut off your head? Never mind. Hi, Gavin.
Hello, David. How are you, sir?
Haven't talked to you in even longer than I haven't talked to him.
I think you're right on that, sir.
How's my classmate doing on the school board? Skip Gray.
He's doing a fine job.
Yeah, he and I graduated together. He won't admit it.
14 what? 1452? What year was that?
Hello. Yeah. We had our 50th reunion last August. You do the math.
Wow.
It's too depressing.
Wow.
But we had people like Gary Brown and Sammy Palazzolo and Tony Manis, and some of our folks did real good, you know.
And then we've had Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's for balance.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking last night we had our brain injury support group meeting, and I was thinking on one hand you got Margaret Thatcher, on the other you got Annette Silly Music, Funicello, and my grandson is in Korea, South Korea, and that took the fun out of all the rest.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
So are you,
what's the story? Is it just that he is so new?
No,
they don't know what to expect.
No, it's because they're up against Obama and they're just pushing him to the limit to see how far he will.
No, but I mean from our side, is this bird so new He's only been there, what, not even a year yet.
Right.
That they just don't know what to expect because they had working relationships with his old man and his grandfather.
Well, apparently, from what I'm reading, his aunt is actually running the show.
Who is?
His father's sister is actually running the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know what to make of it, other than
how about we put?
Other than I know it's bad for your grandson, but it's terrific for my son, who just worked on that movie Olympus Has Fallen, which is about the North Koreans taking over the White House. So the timing could not be better for this, for the current crisis.
And it looks like it could be possible. Yeah, my grandson is now a Army medic, and he's at a station somewhere between Seoul and Incheon.
Oh, that's pretty.
That's right on the border.
Yeah, that's right in the target area.
I remember the MASH episode when Hawkeye goes to interrupt the peace talks at Incheon. And I gather where David is stationed, they named him David, can you imagine? Where he's stationed, I guess, is kind of a modern-day MASH triage unit.
Well, there you go.
I hope it's not very busy.
I suspect he will be putting his education to use.
I hope not. Let's.
Well, yeah, we all do, I guess, but
yeah.
So I got to keep an eye on them folks.
Yes, you do.
But anyway, maybe you're not as good as Karnak, but maybe you know, Bob, or your guests, or are they guests or co-hosts or what? Co-host meaning fairly regular.
Gavin has not missed a show, but one show he missed in the last 2 years while we're doing the podcast.
Well, I didn't miss it all.
Jim, of course, arrived as an uninvited guest about 6 years ago, and
I was going to say he's been around a while, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Jim.
How you doing, Dave?
Compared to what? Never mind.
Yeah, okay.
I checked the grid for tonight, and WMHT is running one of the, what do they call them, American Masterpieces or Masterworks on Carol Burnett. And yet last week they promoted that tonight, since here's a name to remember, Tom Lehrer.
Oh, Tom Lehrer's 85th birthday today.
Yes,
I was. We were going to do Poisoning the Pigeons in the Park. Let's see. Maybe I can still call it up.
But they were going to. They have that. I guess it's a full-hour tape that was filmed 1967 in Oslo, Norway.
That was on 2 weeks ago as well.
About 20 minutes of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a full hour at 8 o'clock, and then they're going to repeat it at 11.
And I think.
So, do we believe what their promotion, or do we believe the grid?
I believe NPR is doing several hours of Tom Lehrer today, also.
Who would that be? Chertok?
That should be on Shartak station, I think.
I might even listen, even despite him.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the first 3 albums. He released 2 others, but all they were was 2 of the first 3 with audiences.
Right.
So I've got the 3 albums. And he's supposed to be coming where? Proctor's the end of June?
Somewhere locally, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that might interfere with a Mohawks home game. So.
You're a big theater fan. I sent an email to Barbara Cook yesterday. Who knew she was still alive? She's still performing like crazy. She's got like 20 performances booked in the month of April. She's 86 years old.
Yeah, I wish they had used her in the movie, but
but then
I think her voice is much clearer.
Or her voice,
or was then
her voice in her prime was couldn't be topped. It is so crystal clear. I saw her on. I saw her in Showboat in 1966, and honestly, we were in the back row, and she just, the clarity of her voice just carried. I was in love with her then.
That's why I like the original cast of Music Man far more than the soundtrack.
Her singing of My White Knight is one of the greatest recordings ever.
I didn't like that they did. They took out one song and put in a new one.
Well,
for the movie.
they did a version of Being in Love carried the bridge from My White Knight, but that's all. Well, I think the point of that was what they wanted to do in those days when they made movie versions of musicals is they would throw one new song in for the hopes of getting the Best Song Oscar. They did that with Guys and Dolls. They threw out Bushel and a Peck, for God's sakes. The movie version of Guys and Dolls doesn't have the biggest hit from the show.
And I think they took out 2 songs and put in a new one for Lil Abner.
Yeah. They took out like 3 from Guys and Dolls and replaced them, and did the same thing in the same.
And it still runs 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, so Barbara Cook is still.
Barbara said she performed in Boston yesterday, I think, or today. Something like that. She's
Rosemary Clooney did that too, right until they had to carry her out feet first.
Now Barbara's voice doesn't have the range it used to have. I listened to some of her more recent stuff, and not quite as smooth as she once was, but she knows how to deliver a lyric. Better than anybody. She's as good at that as Sinatra used to be. What was the one that? I'm trying to think of the song.
And I've got a 45 she did with Sherry on one side, the title from the show about Man Who Came to Dinner.
Yeah.
And the other side, Show Me Where the Good Times Are.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
boy, if that doesn't get you tapping your feet, you're comatose.
There you go.
There you go.
Anyway, I got to tell you the reason I wrote her. She did Summer Stock with Malcolm Atterbury, or Winter Stock. The record isn't quite clear, which is what I asked.
I'm beginning to think everybody appeared with Atterbury.
Well, that's right, because he had. Before the war, he had Kirk Douglas and Carl Malden, and then after the war, he had Barbara.
Which war?
World War II.
Oh.
He had Tom Bosley, Cliff Robertson, Barbara Cook, and Grace Kelly. All came up through the Tamarack Players. Yep.
Yikes.
Carl Malden used to perform
record.
at the Amsterdam Junior High School on Monday nights during the summers, as did Kirk Douglas.
Do you know when opening night is this year?
For the ball game?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you're a fountain of information.
Well, okay. Hey, listen to Sam and Mike if you don't like this show. Anyway, I got another call here.
All right, I'll let you.
June 6th. The answer is June 6th. Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Take care. This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Yes. Would you please repeat the information for Dutch Howland's ceremony?
April 20th, 11 a.m. is the ceremony at St. Mary's Institute. If you're going to go, you should call ahead so they know how much food to prepare.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last.
If you're going to attend, you should call the school to let them know you're coming so they know how much food to prepare, or at least have some idea.
Call what?
Call St. Mary's Institute.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Oh, we got another one. This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Yeah. Is Jim going to the budget meeting tonight? 6:30?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I haven't made up my mind yet.
I wish you would. I mean, I hate being the only one there. And it's got lots of discussion, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be, but whether it's going to be fruitful, I don't know.
Well, and they've only got 3 meetings scheduled.
Well, it's when do they scheduled any because she said that they don't have to because it's perfect budget.
Perfect budget.
Yeah, it's a perfect budget. I gotcha. Okay, later.
Okay,
bye-bye.
Is that Diane?
Yeah.
Hi, Diane. All right. Okay. Let's see. Have we got time for Kaiser's Corner today? Richie Legero just walked in.
Hi, Rich.
Hi, Rich.
Hello, man.
Morning, sir.
You're doing a great job.
Wow. Thank you. We got a telegram from Babe Pilata that says, "Don't blame me. I voted for me."
I voted for Babe.
I voted
for Babe.
Okay.
He's not back yet?
I don't know. I just made that all up. This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Dan again, pain in the neck today. You were talking about North Korea, and about a month and a half ago, 60 Minutes had a deal on, I think it's the Prison 45, where they imprisoned these people for 3 generations, and how this kid escaped, but he also turned in his mother and family and just watched them get hung, and had no remorse because that's the way he was brought up. And that shows you the type of people you're coming against. 3 generations seems like a lot, but probably by the time the 3 generations are up to.
Well, have you ever seen that outer space photograph of the world at night?
Yeah.
And you get to the South Korean-North Korean border, and South Korea is all lit up, and there isn't a candle lit in the entire country of North Korea. Yeah. Same with Cuba.
I got one thing for Gavin.
Yes,
Gavin, I think you were a great part of this. So last October, I was visited by someone from exchange student from Russia, Valentina.
Yeah, from Phoenix when they came over.
Pardon?
The group Phoenix. That's what they were called when they came over back in '92, I think.
Yeah, she's now working in. You may know this. She's now working in Moscow, and she goes back and forth between Rostov and Moscow, and she's doing very, very well.
That's great.
Gavin's not only a Scully grad, he's a Lenin grad.
That's true. That's true. But I want to tell you the main thing, because you're always getting knocked to school, and you know how I am with the school. I asked her, what did she want to do? And she said, well, I want to stay here. I want to visit you, blah, 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 blah. I said, what else do you want to do? She said, I want to go up to see the school. She went in there, and she saw the renovations with the auditorium. Ziskin and Davy, they were very nice and gracious. They let us go through the whole school, and she was enthralled. She said, this auditorium is better than some of our places in Russia, Moscow. I said, well, Moscow's got beautiful movie theaters and stuff like that. She says, not like this. She says, not in schools and stuff. She says, it's unbelievable. She says, I don't think people know what they have here. So that's a plus from someone outside the country coming into the school district.
Yeah, because when they performed there, it was a swimitorium, and we had a pretty decent crowd that night that they performed here during their 10-week stay.
It was all a cappella, and I'm sure Mr. Going can understand what a cappella is. And
that's a chain of islands, isn't it? Archipelagos.
But she was very impressed. And
are you the guy who just called a little while ago?
Yeah.
She was great. They all were, her and her mom.
Kate and Mom. And we got to Skype with her family just about every night in Russia. So it was quite an experience. So sometimes people from the outside appreciate our gifts more than our own people.
People do. Absolutely.
I won't call you anymore today.
That's no problem, Dan. Anytime.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Hey, what's the Sunhouse Piper doing this week?
He's got a big soccer tournament. They got a 4-game soccer tournament on Saturday and another soccer game on Sunday. He did have to forego a big competition in New Hampshire for the soccer, so he's not piping this weekend. Oh, and that caused some consternation with the director. But
hey, you can't do everything.
Can't do everything. No, and you're doing all the good things and participating and staying out of trouble and taking advantage of the opportunities you're offered. That's all you can expect.
Got to say a special hello to my daughter Louisa, listening at work when she should be working out in Concord, Massachusetts. Hi. Anyway. Yeah.
And I saw her on your Facebook dancing.
Oh, her ballroom dancing is fantastic.
Great. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah.
One of the disadvantages we have being down here at the studios, we don't have a chance to have Chip the Wonder Dog.
That's true.
Come through.
Although I could bring him. He gave me that look this morning.
Did he?
Where are you going without me? Yeah.
He knew.
He knew. Oh, he knew. He listens.
He won't give me that toy though.
No, we won't give you his toy. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't know. I guess we probably don't have time for Kaiser's Corner. I was going to do a poem today, but so Kaiser, if you're listening, we got a lot of Tuesdays coming up.
Yes, we do. I think there's 50-12 minutes next year.
All right.
Well, supposedly we got 50.
Yeah.
Boy, 1 hour is not enough.
It's not enough.
All right. So,
nobody said to cut off, did they? Didn't?
Well, yes.
Ask
yes.
She just
no. It's okay. It's okay, Rebecca. Don't beg. No. It's our first day. We're not begging. We're not begging for more time. I've been doing a practice video of this program, which we might put up on TSWNN a little bit later. I have to cut the commercials out. We didn't have any.
How does the back of my head look?
Well, that's all. It's pretty shiny, yeah.
That's all you see.
And Gavin, we don't even see it.
Yeah, you got my.
Oh, we have a call. Okay, we got to do a quickie call here. This is WCSS. You're on the air.
Hi, I understand that Mayor Thane will be on next week.
Yes, I imagine so. Yes, she'll be.
I think somebody said every Friday now.
No, she'll be on with us.
Well, I hear a twinkle in her voice, and there's, speaking of great ladies, all I can say is Mayor Thane, and then again, you never know.
Oh, okay. All right.
With the mayor, you do know.
Okay. All right.
Now you got it.
Hey, I found the theme music. What I didn't know was how to turn it on. Okay, all right. Anyway, this has been our first show back. I'm Bob Going with Jim Nicosia and Gavin Murdoch. Jim, you are here, right?
I'm here.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. And we'll be back next Tuesday, same time, 10 o'clock. I hope to get the show on in a timely manner. We'll have the theme music with us. This is a pretty jazzy version of this, isn't it?
What's on next? What's on the next hour?
What's on the next hour? The news, I think. We got the news coming up. And you're listening to WCSS 1490 in Amsterdam, New York.
Your home for classic hits is WCSS Amsterdam, a Cranesville block station.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. Hundreds of flights have been grounded at Denver International Airport by an early spring blast of heavy snow. Up to